Wait, are you in Colby? Are you in Germany?
No, I'm not that rich.
Oh, he's in New
New
York.
York. So yeah, I'm in New York, and Colby was like, "Let's do it." Well, we drove 5 hours this morning. I'm here till Thursday.
Wow.
You guys trade together this morning?
No, we probably will tomorrow. I mean, yeah, he just got here like 15 minutes ago after his drive.
Shit, you should have left a little earlier, and then you could have traded.
I know. I left at 5 a.m. Yeah, it's already early. Yeah, it was like 5.
So you didn't do any trading then, huh?
Tomorrow's CPI, so
Oh,
I usually don't trade these days anyway.
The market is so sketchy these days, I feel like.
Dude, for real. Today was so frustrating for me.
I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. I was like so confident last month, and I feel like a fucking retard now.
Yeah, you were on such a good streak, and then you had a few real intense P&L down draws.
Both of us did like exactly at the same time.
That's true. You guys both did. But that comes with big size, right? That kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, I had started taking more size in April and March while I was having so many good consistent days. And then like I knew that it potentially could be an issue that as soon as I had a red day or was in a drawdown that like I was red on the day, things weren't really moving anymore, that it had a chance to be a bigger red day just because of the bigger share size and getting frustrated. And like relatively to my green days, at least, so I had a solid red day on Friday, finally. It was my first red day since March, actually, which is great. But yeah, it was like 4,800, which, like, all things considered, is really not that bad. Because I try to keep my red days within hopefully one decent green day of being out of the drawdown. 4,800 is definitely more like 2 or 3, but yesterday I was really frustrated. Yesterday I had one of those types of days where I was just, by the end of the day, I was like, I just want the day to be over and maybe we can redo tomorrow. It started out with, I was making my coffee in the morning, spilled half the milk.
Yo, that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah, like there, it was off from the start. And then I traded well. I was up 2,100 after the morning session. I went to the gym, had a kind of weird workout. I just was like not strong, feeling weak. Everything felt heavy and tough. It took 2 hours to get through my lift. I got back from the gym. I took like one more trade on TRVN, which I was up 16 or 1,700 on. I actually went short on it going into the end of the day because I was like, they're up 300 some percent. They have an active S3 registered. So I was imagining at close that they might announce an offering. So I went short into the descending resistance trend line. And I don't know if you guys watched that. It halted going into the market close. And when it resumed, it went a full dollar higher and then immediately all the way back down. But I was holding 2,700 shares, so I couldn't just like keep holding it. So I went from up 1,600 on it to down 300 in like one trade.
oof,
So
Yeah, that's beyond.
yeah. So I was
you do it the halt down. I mean, the false halt down. Is that like your best strategy? Because I've tried that, and I end up buying the dip into a halt down, and then it opens up 20 or 30 cents lower, and I'm like max loss.
Yeah.
halts down are tough, and I would definitely not say anybody who. I would say that no one who has not made a significant amount of profit should be trying to trade false halts down. Because number one, like if you don't have a substantial profit cushion just in your trading career, I think it's dangerous because that can happen. And just the other day, I forget what stock it was or whatever, but I took, I think it was on the podcast last week.
Yeah, that was brutal. Where you went up from 3,000 down to like 15.
Yeah.
Negative.
but I took a false halt in one of those moves, and it bounced like 5 cents, and then the halt level moved lower and it restacked on that lower level. So that can happen too every now and then. But I definitely have an edge on them.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really like on false halt is I use the ThinkorSwim active ladder more so than my DOS level 2, because it shows the strength of the stack on that one penny, one price point, whereas level 2, it shows the stack across all of the different exchanges. So it's a lot easier to read the strength of the stack on the active ladder. So that's actually what I look at. And then you can really easily gauge like how strong was that halt up compared to the last one, or how strong was that halt down. And then it makes it really easy to see when the stack on the ask is thinning out. So that's how I trade those, but definitely not a beginner or even like intermediate strategy.
Yeah,
I would
definitely
say.
seems like that. Yeah.
But I mean, like they have a ton of potential, because when you do get a false halt down, especially on things that are moving fast and like from $5 to $8 to $10 to $12, like you'll frequently get $1 or $2 bounce out of it.
Yeah. We did get one today on ENSC. Did you catch it?
On ENSC?
Yeah, there was a false halt down, and I was actually in on the dip, and I thought it was gonna halt, close and halt down, but the ask got chewed up, and I got lucky. I was about to bail out, break even, and I got lucky, a 20-cent win.
I didn't see one on ENSC. There was one on SFWL that I missed at 1040. The bottom of that candle was a false halt down that bounced like $1.50. I didn't get that.
I'll share my screen just so we can see.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the 1040 candle, the bottom of that candle was a false halt down before it continued downward, and then it went to the high of day. So like they're definitely powerful, but obviously very risky.
Yeah.
How about halt resumptions on the way up? Do you buy just like a gap up after a halt?
It depends. Like especially all of the halts we've been seeing lately, the ones that have been gapping up have been gapping up like $1 or $2 or $3, and like there's no way I can get in on those resumptions unless it dips and then stops going down, and then I can get in.
Yeah.
But like it depends on how many halts it's had. If it has had 2 or 3 halts and it's showing a gap up, like there's no way that I can get in, because you have so much downside potential.
Yeah.
So those have been really hard for me actually the last week. They've been like really, really tough on the emotions and mentality and psychology side of it. And I think that's kind of like everybody, all of my friends who I'm talking with, everyone feels the same. Like we don't know if it's good for us or bad for us, because they've been kind of just like really triggering. If you miss the initial halt, you're like, there's no entry.
Yeah, I was nervous Nancy today. Well, first of all, ENSC really screwed me over. You can't see my P&L right now. Here it is. I'm down 450. It's not that bad, but I was basically crawling out of a giant hole on ENSC. I was down like 700-800 on this one.
I was too.
And then I made back some. And then I was just like, I can't justify trading this ticker. I'm clearly not in any sort of flow on it. And then TCRX came up, and I got some green on this one, but I missed the good trading here. I got some trades here, and then like a total buffoon, I was like perfect bear trap, and somehow I lost money here.
You called that one out. Perfect.
Yeah. I didn't even trade with big size. I don't know why I shook myself out. I think it was because I just came back from like, I ended the day down. Let me hide these. I ended like only $100. And I think like mentally, I was so in capital preservation mode that I mentally could not handle holding this move, even though I was down like $20, which is nothing. And that's when I knew I got to call it, because I'm only thinking about my P&L right now and not this perfect stuff in front of me. So
I try to think about my P&L as little as possible, but like I'm always aware of it, and I can do really fast mental math too, which is kind of an issue sometimes, because like I know I'm up 400 on this one. I know I'm down 300 here, up 500 here, whatever, I'll just add it up really quickly, even if I don't look.
Yeah.
So like I'm
Yeah.
aware of my P&L kind of no matter what.
It's no
But
secret. Yeah.
I did the same thing. I was down 800 on ENSC. Luckily, I was able to recoup it, and I actually had gotten up to like plus 200. I gave a little back, so I'm at plus 50 on it. And then I did the same thing as you. I was like, obviously, this isn't working really well for me.
Yeah, this
I
ticker's
traded-
not working.
Yeah, I traded 48,000 shares of it, and I'm
Oh,
up
God.
$53. So
Yeah, that's a lot. I only did like
like
7.5 thousand.
that's a big indicator to me. I'm like, there's probably better things to trade.
Yeah, it's the more you
So I
trade it, the
moved
more
on.
right you get. That's a clear writing on the wall.
Yeah, so I moved on from that one, and I'm obviously really glad I did, because then I started focusing on TCRX, which is where I made basically all of my
Yeah,
profit today.
yeah, same. Yeah. So little recap here for anyone that's watching is usually we do podcasts, or like we'll record this on Thursdays and we'll release it Friday. Today's Tuesday, so it should be released Wednesday. Is everyone feeling more energetic? Is this good for everyone's schedule?
Tuesdays are fine for me.
Definitely better for my schedule, yeah, since I started the job.
Yeah, okay, it's good to hear. Yeah, Tom, it's so nice to have you back. It's been so long.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah,
I do like beginning of the week too, because it does, like you said, it does give you that sort of you prepare then for and implement new rules and new stuff that we're working on for the rest of the week, rather than forgetting about it and coming back on Monday.
yeah. By
This is a
Friday, I'm usually like mentally clocked off a little bit already.
Yeah,
How's the job been?
It's been good. It's really easy work. I clock in and I clock out and take my paycheck, pays the bills, and then I focus on trading. So it's
that's
exactly
nice. It's not
I mean,
bad to
job.
have some stable income while
Yeah.
you're working on trading.
Yeah.
What's the job?
It's like financial services, just taking phone calls for the banks. That's
Cool.
really it.
It's a big bank too, right?
No, I don't actually work in one like specific bank. It's like a third party, and anyone who calls, like, you have like a 300 like a 300 client list of banks, and anyone who calls that bank, it kind of gets routed back to me.
So you like change your hat quickly.
And so, yeah, I pretty much changed my hat. But
Does-
You're like a market maker now.
Has anyone,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
Has
it's
anyone
super
watched
easy, and
Silicon
it's-
Valley?
Definitely
Like
makes it
First
easier
Republic
to
cat
focus
just
on
slowly taking it up.
trading. Yeah, one time, like, well, thank you for calling Wells Fargo. Thank you for calling PNC. Thank you for calling
Yeah.
USA Bank.
Does anybody watch Silicon Valley?
Yeah, dude, it's such a good series.
You know, Jared, when he turns into Nate Chambers,
Nate Chamber, that Trevor.
his alter ego, he's just like,
Where
You
he was
guys from-
mean. Where he was mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
where he's like a douche.
Oh yeah. Wasn't his alter ego like this like weird German like super
He-
OCD?
He
Was
had
that
a
another-
couple. No,
Oh yeah,
he,
Kim Baltimore. Okay.
when he dreamed or when he was sleeping, he would
Yeah,
like,
okay, that's what it was.
and-
Yeah.
That's funny.
That series is the best.
It's good.
Yeah. And honestly, it's very accurate to Palo Alto. If you guys haven't been around here, that's what Palo Alto is like. The people
I've
there
heard.
and
I read
like the
a few articles
robots in the
about it.
street.
Yeah. I super. Actually, that one scene where they're trying to buy Adderall off the kids. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is so perfect.
It's yeah, that's what life is like down there.
Shit.
Toby, let's hear about your week.
It's
Hope
been
he
a
seems like he
couple of
parties
weeks,
like every night.
so, today was decent, but my first, my first trade, or my first couple of trades pre-market, got myself green, okay, and then took that drawdown like you did on ENSC when it just never stopped coming, or just never bounced. It just kept like falling and falling and falling. And then I managed to get myself back to even on it during pre-market, so I was pretty happy about that. And I was up like $300 to start the regular market. And then the first trade I took on ENSC, once the market opens, like the second minute, got caught in a little flush, down $450 immediately. So I was a little pissed off about that, but I bounced back. The second trade I made on ENSC, I made $1,000. So went from minus 450 to plus like 500.
Yeah, you had a nice ending there. I saw.
And then I did a halt resumption on SLRX. Did okay on that one, I think it was SLRX. And then
SFWL?
Yeah.
I didn't trade SFWL.
Hmm.
I was pretty much done.
SLRX.
I was pretty much done already by then.
Okay.
And then just a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, and was able to finish green about $879, which
Yeah,
is well needed
fine.
because it's been a huge drawdown in the last 2 weeks. So talked to Alex. We need he said, when he was having some trouble, he just needed to have a green day, and so I closed up shop when I was at high day, and
Awesome.
we'll do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, nothing worse than finally getting back a decent chunk and then ending the red for like the 4th day in a row, and you're just like.
I was rallying all of last month. I thought, I was making great trades, finishing early, and then last 2 weeks have been a struggle. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong. I think that I've been trying to get squeeze out every single penny on every single ticker. So I'm taking way too many trades on the same ticker on the same setup. I end up just getting smoked. And I just need to take, the 1 or 2 good setups and not touch it again, actually. And that's kind of what I did today, and it worked out well.
It seems like a lot of your bigger red days and even on your green days, you always have one trade that's like 90% of your profits.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I was in 3,000 shares for the ENSC when I made the $1,000, and I probably could have scaled out even a little slower, but I was happy with getting back to green and closed it up, and then took a couple more trades after that. But yeah, I've had some some big winners in the last 3 weeks or so, but also I've taken some huge losses, and a lot of times it's not like the loss that's so big. It's I'll take 2 or 3 consecutive losses on the same ticker right in a row. Still while it's falling, because I'm like, oh, I can't go any lower, so I'll double down on this one and then take another big loss. And that's where I accumulate the big red.
How do you recover mentally after you do take a couple of those losses? Because I mean, a lot of people watching, I'm sure, will take 3 or 4 losses in a row, and they feel like that they're just not that same trader anymore, and they start to feel bad about themselves, and then it just spirals out of control to either they size down to try to mitigate those losses and turn it around, which is a successful way to do it, or the wrong way to go about it is sizing up to try to make those back. So how do you manage those emotions and that mentality of when you're taking so many losses in a row?
Yeah, it's that's tough, and definitely, it's human nature to get down on yourself, to question everything you're doing, and I mean, I think one of the biggest problems was, I just started going over everything with a fine-tooth comb, which I don't quite do as often. I look at my trades, I see how I traded when I'm doing well, but I don't overanalyze it. And then now that I had a couple bad days, I was overanalyzing it, and then you almost get yourself more screwed up because you're overthinking everything.
Yeah.
And overanalyzing everything and looking at all the trades and saying, okay, I want to try to do this and this and this, and just making up all this other extra crap, which you just need to kind of relax and just let it happen. I definitely, when I was doing well, I started trading more, and I think that was kind of the problem that kind of carried through. So I need to reduce my trading, the amount of trades I make. Like I said, I was over trading tickers. I'm trying to hit the pop, and then I'm trying to get it scale out, and then when it pulls back, try to hit that pullback, and trying to hit every single penny I can get on one move, which is it's not necessary. That's where I get myself in trouble a lot. I just need to make that one good move, maybe if there's a solid pullback, wait around for it and then hit that, but not try to getting greedy, I guess, just trying to hit every single penny.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to get like that one big trade and then try to avoid the rest? Or do you think that like you get that big trade because you're testing it out so much beforehand?
No, I think I can get that trade for sure. But I also believe I can make that trade 2 or 3 times in a day. And maybe that's where I get to maybe testing out things a little bit too much. I feel like I did have a horrendous downswing the last week or so, but I also feel like I'm right at the cusp too. So that's kind of, mentally, like you were asking about, Tom, how you kind of get past it all. It's like, I've been training for a little while now. I've had some bad days, bad weeks when I first started. And then you got a little bit consistent, and then I had some real bad drawdowns. And then I've been really consistent recently, and then now have had a bad couple of weeks. And but I know that I'm like right at that cusp, like I'm making some big gains during the day, but I'm also losing them. And if I can just mitigate some of the losses, slow it down just a little bit, take out the trade just a touch more, I think that I can have very consistent green days. I know it's possible. I only had like 2 or 3 red days last month.
Yeah, it was looking good. Same with Danny. He's like had a whole entire green month.
That was nice.
I guess when in doubt, zoom out, right? And like when I was looking at your trending or your cumulative P&L, Toby, like you crawled off your bottom really nicely, and like if I look at your cumulative P&L, I'm like, wow, something clicked. Now you're having a little bit of a drawdown again, but it's just like a natural progression. So it seems like you're right on track.
Yeah, I'm not going to size down much. I size down just slightly, but not much off of what I'm doing. I want to keep. I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, I agree.
I've been a little over aggressive, but I want to keep my share size pretty consistent around 1,500 when I can, and and just get into better trades and think through the trade just a little bit better. And I was kind of talking myself through all the trades today, which was helpful too.
Are you recording yourself?
Yeah, except for today, I messed up. I was so caught up trading ENSC because it was going right into the market open. I was so busy trading it still that I didn't get to my recording. Yeah. I try not to. I don't trade. I probably should, but I don't record pre-market because I definitely don't go full size during pre-market. I kind of use it as a warm-up, so I'm using like half size. So 1,500 is what I usually trade. I'll be 750 during pre-market.
Yeah, okay.
I do want to expand on that a little bit and kind of ask, everyone else is like, how do you guys not let trading or the bad days in trading affect your day moving forward?
Depends on the day, how it went. Friday, $4,800 red day, it definitely affected my day. It didn't really affect my weekend, aside from me just wanting and being ready for Monday morning to have a chance to start to make progress against it.
Yeah.
But I also was really aware of that yesterday morning. I was like, I need to be careful and slow and deliberate about the trades that I'm taking. Just be like, the first thing for me is the rule number 1 is don't try to make up the red day in one trade or one day. If it happens, great. But that's kind of a byproduct of trying to keep your red day to 1 or 2 decent green days. But like always, you have to be taking trades that are there and good trades to take. And that's how you'll start to make progress against it. Yesterday was really frustrating for me going from a really solid green day to a negligible red day. Like I ended the day red like 300 or something like that, which luckily for me at this point is less than one decent trade. it was just the fact that I gave back like $2,500 and turned it from a solid green day into a small red day. But it's just like learning from them over time and having the confidence that you'll learn from the mistakes and do better next time. Or having the excitement or the like curiosity or feeling of opportunity that you can do better next time. And it really sucks if you're in a red streak and like every day you're excited for the next day to do better, and then you do the same thing, because I've been there too. But I think just realizing that it's a really long journey, and it's just like a pullback in price action or in a chart. It's just part of the move up.
Absolutely. And I know, Alex, you've been having some trouble the past like couple of months. You were saying, can you expand like on your experience with having so many of those losers and then making some money and then giving it back, making some money, giving it back, losing more, then making that back. And then after like 5 months, finally being, green.
Yeah, breaking out of my plateau. I can even share a picture of it, but
I'm sure that was very, very frustrating.
My girlfriend would probably explain it better than I can. She would see me just go into the living room and just being like, just so frustrated. Which, let me pull it up, let's see, which portfolio is this? Yeah, I mean, you see it here. So, you guys see this? So let me hide nominal P&L and volume. And like this really sums it up. So I was like on a really clean front side. This is when I was doing a lot of the streaming. I was streaming to like here, which is kind of ironic that was my best. But when I was streaming, I was like very focused on, this is the only thing I trade. I only trade the front side. I only do this, X, Y, Z. So I was like very black and white. And then we had probably one of the slowest years, like 2022, at least for me and a lot of the front side traders. It was like you just weren't getting that. Someone's in the trade. You just weren't getting a lot of follow through. So that's when things kind of slowed down for me. And then it was like near the end, October, November, where I was like, oh, let me really practice my swing trading as well. So this is when I started tripping over myself, and like I would have a great swing trade day, but then like a horrible day trading day, or a great day trading day, but then I gave back 2,000 of my swing trades. And I was just over analyzing, overthinking, and then it just led to 5+ months of flat, like the worst plateau ever. And this is very frustrating because one day you're up 1,000, the next day you're down 1,000, and it's just like you're always excited. I know someone just said this. I think Danny just said this. You're really excited for the next day to get back on progress. And the worst thing to do is just slam back down your progress. And honestly, what I kind of started doing was like analyzing a little bit less. I needed to kind of just get back to the roots. Like I know how to trade. It's not like I kind of became my own biggest enemy, like you guys saw today with that one trade, TRVN, where I closed it on that, or was it TRVN? No, I think it was
TCRX.
Yeah, TCRX. Yeah, where I closed it right before the breakout because I came too focused on my P&L. So just kind of working on kind of keeping it simple again. And right now I still am wrapping it up earlier, which today was a problem, but I think just taking some profits off the table, coming back tomorrow has been really good. I am in a little bit, you can argue, in an uptrend again. When I started, it looks so good when you zoom in.
You could argue.
Yeah, but maybe we go to the weekly, you can kind of see it coming back a little bit, just on a healthy little trend. And that's just me taking my green days. I need to start sizing again. I'm not sizing nearly as much as I should be doing. But I had to build up some confidence again, because when I was doing 2 strategies at once, it was really, really sloppy. And now I'm still doing that a little bit, but I'm more or less like building up some investments and building up my investment portfolio, because I do feel like a lot of tickers are depreciated. So it's not so much like actively looking for swings or actively holding longer when I should be taking profits. It's not that anymore. It's more like 2 different time frames, because what I was trying to do was hold a 5-minute time frame longer. Let me hold this front side for 30 minutes instead of, doing the 1 minute trading. And for me, my intraday duration is I make all my money on those quick trades, and I don't make money on anything I hold pretty much over 2 minutes. So I basically stopped doing my best strategy and just tried something totally different for a while, which absolutely did not work. So for me, it's really just getting back to my roots right now, keeping it really simple, getting some confidence back. I know I can do it. Market's heating up too. So I think I'm on the right trend again. At least that's what it feels like. If you asked me 3 months ago, I would have still been like, I don't know. But I think at this point, I feel fairly confident again.
I feel like it's totally okay to try something and get to the point where you realize this totally didn't work.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Because like, how do you find any new strategy that might really work for you? Hopefully the getting to the point of this really didn't work isn't like a major drawdown or anything like that. It should be with smaller size, but I think like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Also being flat for 5 months is also not a total fail. I mean, there's many portfolios that blew up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I just managed my risk, but the two strategies definitely fought each other. One would say buy, one would say sell, and it threw me off a lot. So now I'm really like, okay, I can swing trade and invest, but it has to be different time frame, different portfolio, and out of sight, out of mind. I can't day trade and hold longer at the same time. I don't know, it's not working on the same stock. So
Tommy, are you triad trading?
Yeah, triad trading.
Yeah, so you had asked yesterday about Trader Rehab when I sent in that message that I had given back my whole day. I guess that maybe I would say that I had put myself in Trader Rehab last fall because I had 3 red months in a row, which I had never had before. And so at that point, I was finally like, I really need to change something that I'm doing. But yesterday was really just one bad trade that just took my whole day. And then I was a little frustrated and just over traded more because after that one trade, I was still up $100 on the day. And then I took a couple more trades and I lost another 400. So like for me, Trader Rehab, I would have to be having a lot of consistent red days. And so I was thinking about, I saw your question on that and didn't have time or make the time to respond. So I'm glad I can now. But like I had just come off of like 23 straight green days. So whenever I'm trying to figure that out, like when I had a red day, basically it's why did it happen? Is it going to keep happening? Was it just one trade that went wrong? Can I keep doing what I'm doing with the same size? So like all of those factors, I was like, no way. It was just one bad trade really that got me. And other than that, I've been having a lot of consistency and some really good results. So like that's what I think about if I'm trying to think about, do I need to turn my trading around, or was it just one trade that went wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. Colby, did you want to share your experience about moving from where you quit the one strategy that didn't work out for you, which is what we're doing, which is the small cap scalping. You have a completely different headspace with how you want to trade. And now I start to see that you're getting a little bit more consistent, which is good. Did you want to share your experience about
honestly, I feel like I've been in Trader Rehab.
Green
I
trader?
feel like I've been in Trader Rehab since I started trading.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like I did small caps for like 8 months. I had like small success, but then right when the market went into recession, I was like, why the hell am I trading small caps whenever every large cap in the bull market can be shorted, and I can't short small caps in TOS, and they're all falling like 10% a day. So I focused on that. I traded NVIDIA only for like 6 months, and then I've been trading SPY for like 9 months. And recently, I've been talking a lot to with SMB Capital. I've been trying to get a job there or like internship, whatever. And he's the guy that I've been contacting. He's been asking me to like create playbooks for my strategies, and like he's been asking like, what's your A+ setup, and like giving me suggestions about the strategies that I've sent to him. And ever since I started doing that, I feel like I say this every month, I try something different, but just bear with me. Ever since I started making playbook posts, I feel like it's helped me like it's helped me fix a lot of my other problems that you wouldn't assume would happen from making a playbook. Like you wouldn't think like, oh, I'm gonna trade less from a playbook, but that's exactly what's been happening. Like I've been writing down probably like 3 or 4 strategies that I really like a lot. And whenever the market is doing something and those strategies are not present at all, but I feel like I want to trade, it makes me not trade it because I'm like, okay, this is clearly not a setup that I have defined in my strategy book. So if it's not a setup, I'm not going to take it. And then if I see something that is setting up that I've already created parameters for, like, there's like an opening range breakout, super simple strategy. You mark the first 30-minute candle, you mark the high and the low, you get a candle closure break of that level and then a retest and you get your entry. And it's just like a simple breakout strategy based on the first 30 minutes of the SPY. And when I see that happen, I'm like, I'm going to take it. And the other thing that's really cool about it is all of these strategies have their own win rate. They have their own risk reward. So I can take a strategy and I'll know immediately, like, this doesn't have that high of a win rate, and it makes the loss much easier to swallow because I don't care that, I lost on the strategy because now I'm just waiting for the next strategy to show up. So I feel like I've been recently, the number one thing, which I feel like is all I ever say is like, I'm trying to trade as little as possible and study as much as possible so that I have like, I'm just, honestly, this is probably like my biggest struggle too with trading is I'm just such an analytical person. Like I'll never just do something because someone says it. I have to ask like why, how, when, like I need to know like every single variable of everything. And it's just like something that's my personality and I don't know why, but that's what I've been working on recently. And I really like it a lot. I think it's going to help me size too, because if I see that strategy and, I have 10 variables and they're all pointing bullish, they're all pointing bearish, and then I have the opening range breakout to take, I can size up on that and it'd be a lot easier than just jumping around and taking a trade because I like feel a certain way. I don't want to ever take a trade because I feel like something will happen, which is weird because talking to all of you guys, I feel like small caps are way more about feel. Way more. Like it's much more of like get your reps in, like you got to trade like a decent amount. You got to just know, you kind of create your own strategy and it's solely in your head. And when you tell it to someone else, they're like, that definitely doesn't work. And then you show them your P&L and you're like, it doesn't work actually. And then the guy's like, oh, well, I'm an idiot. So, but for me, like the SPY is not like that. So
we were even talking last week where I was even saying sometimes I take trades because I know how I will feel if I don't take the trade. And that's actually sometimes my best trades, which is the exact opposite. Crazy. So much can work.
I feel like that strategy with large caps though, like trading Nvidia for 6 months, you're just getting really focused on how that stock trades. Just like when you're trading small caps, you get really used to how small caps trade. And if it's like a similar float, two small caps that have almost everything in common, they're going to trade pretty similar. So it's kind of the same thing, and it just depends on like what fits your personality better.
And that's something that I struggle with too, because if you think about the stock market, and it's like Lance Brightstein always brings up this concept of like the broken slot machine. So, if you're walking into a casino and you see 1,000 slot machines and there's one person sitting on the slot machine, every time they push the button, they're hitting a jackpot. And you're like, this statistically makes no sense. How is that possible? I'm not going to play that slot machine. Well, you're an idiot. Why would you not play that slot machine? It doesn't matter what's going on, what your probability is in your head. And the problem with my trading is I'm trading SPY every day. And that is the definition of no edge, because I'm trying to pull money out of a day where maybe the SPY has no trend at all. Maybe it's just completely ranging and it's like very tricky to trade. Whereas you guys are finding a broken slot machine every single day, no matter what. You're finding that 200% runner that has a 10 million float and has X amount of volume and is doing this kind of pattern, whatever. And it's just like, boom, you already have your answer. Whereas for me, I kind of have to gauge when the SPY is having its little broken slot machine 10-minute frame of the day. You know what I mean?
That's very hard.
Yeah. That's why I think it's good for me to like list out my strategies, because if I have them all written out, they're all very different. But like with small caps, you're kind of just, you're following momentum, whereas the SPY is not really a momentum driven instrument. It's just kind of like
Right.
moving depending on the sectors and overall institutional involvement and like macro data and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So then how do you know on a day when the market opens? You're like, because it seems like if it's a ranging day, you won't even know until it's already over.
So that's a good
That's the
question.
problem that I had when I was trying to do large caps.
So that opening range breakout strategy is the one that I was, you mark the high and the low, the first 30-minute candle, you get a breakout, the candle closure has to close above that level or below the bottom or the top of the range, and you play the breakout. And then yesterday when I was writing up, because every day when that strategy happens, I take that strategy from that day and I'll write it up into my playbook. So I'll take, like, it happened yesterday, I write it up in the playbook and I'll say, this is May 8th. This is what happened today. This is why it worked. This is why it didn't work, whatever. And then I was looking at it. I was like, actually, since we have CPI tomorrow, the opening range actually held perfectly in between the first 30-minute high and low. So like the first 30-minute high and low, the SPY all day was stuck in that range the whole day. And last time I checked my phone, that's what was happening today as well. And I was thinking like, oh, I should make another strategy called the opening range hold, where instead of it breaking out of the opening range, it's going to hold that first 30-minute volume because we have uncertainty coming out in the future. Because obviously, like, CPI is a big catalyst for the market. Why, if you're an institution and there's a random chance that something bad might happen in a couple of days, you're not going to buy or sell any stock. You're just going to sit tight. So whenever institutions aren't trading the market, then it's going to be way more likely to range. So taking an opening range breakout strategy is not going to be working. So like, the SPY for me, it's all about like identifying like what season are we in? Like what's today going to be like? Is it going to be a choppy day? Is there a likelihood of trending? Like we have way more likelihood of trending after CPI or after FOMC, after JOLTS, after non-farm payroll. So that's like the number one thing when you're trading the indices. You kind of have to know the environment first, and then trade your strategies like accordingly to that environment.
I do want to propose a question, which is a little like kind of different topic. Is like, what do you think is the future of what the heck we're doing like right now? Like, what's the future of day trading and even just trading a small cap or like a large cap? Where is this headed like 10, 20, 30 years from now? What happens when we're 50 or 60? What are we going to be doing at 50 or 60?
Making $1 billion a day.
Yeah, that'll be worth like $10 because it's like $10.
Or is this something that's going to peter out after like 10 years and there's going to be no more volume in the markets?
I doubt it, because trading has been around since like the early 1900s, right? And it's still going and more sophisticated now and easier than ever for just anybody to pull up their phone and start day trading. Or, if you're a little more serious, download a desktop app and set up hotkeys and that kind of thing. But like, it's only becoming more accessible. Wealth disparity is only growing. I can't imagine that the government would be able to pass laws or anything that would like substantially change the environment of the market or day trading.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to put taxes on unrealized gains. Like there's no way that's going to happen because those people own the politicians. But I don't know. I don't imagine that it's going to go away or change greatly. This is something that I'm anticipating being able to do for the next, I don't know how long, till I get bored with it, or till I find something else, I guess.
Yeah.
To me, honestly, I think the market's just going to get a lot harder. Like, I just think it's going to become much more difficult. And this was a really interesting thing I saw this morning that made me think of this. Yeah. So this is Buffett's outperformance over the past 50 years. Okay, so this is crazy to look at. Look at how much he outperformed the market from 65 down to like 2005-ish. And then look at recently, it's just not even close. I mean, the only reason that he's outperforming now is because most of his portfolio is made of Apple, and that's it. If you take Apple out of this, which is what he said, I think there's no performance at all in the past, no outperformance at all in the past decade. So for 10 years, the best investor of our generation hasn't even beaten the market if you take out his number one stock that is literally a third of his entire portfolio. So, I mean, take what you will out of that. I just feel like it's probably, the market is just going to become more and more difficult to trade. I think that like obviously more people are able to trade now, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, you could argue that more retail volume is like better for people who are experienced because we can take more of their money. But honestly, I feel like most of the money that people make that are actually professional traders is just piggybacking off of institutions and larger players. We're not really taking money from the guy that opened his Robinhood account with $1,000 and he's buying calls, you know?
I agree.
I think I agree with Danny that it's, I mean, you guys know about the tulip mania, right? Where like the Dutch were trading tulips. It was from 1634 to 1637. And the bowl painting in my room, not here, but back in Berlin, it has a tulip in its mouth to represent that. And, you know, that kind of shows that human psychology will just pretty much forever be here. So unless like AI takes over the world, I think there's, which might happen, who knows, but I think there's always going to be something to trade. So maybe we're not trading on TD Ameritrade or DAS or whatever, but we're going to understand that there's trends, there's pullbacks, there's, you know, there's ranging markets. And I think we can apply these skills to many different things and just understand herd mentality. And that's what I like about trading so much is Cole, you have a degree in psychology, right? And I think any trader naturally gets a degree in psychology, right? And trading, it allows you to utilize that degree because it's really just human emotions on a chart. And so I don't know how long, you know, maybe we're going to be trading small cap gappers for, but I do know that we'll be able to apply these skills in any scenario. We'll just identify a trend, ride it, capitalize on it, and get off when the trend's over.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like even from when I started day trading 3 years ago, the market environment has changed quite a bit. Like I started trading and started following Ross, and then eventually became one of his students, took his courses, all of that stuff. Like everything that is in those courses definitely still plays out in the market today, just a little bit differently. Like the moves that we're seeing today don't really look like the moves that we were seeing a year or 2 or 3 ago, but there are still strong moves to capitalize on. So it's just a matter of adapting. But I think, was it Colby who brought up the point of the newer traders maybe not necessarily being like a good thing? I think that's definitely true, because depending on their level of education and like patterns and setups that they've learned and know, it might be good or it might be bad that we have all of these newer traders in the market who are kind of creating a lot of unpredictability because they don't know what the setups are and where they should be buying or should be selling. And then at the same time, we have algorithms and market makers and big firms who are directly playing against us and trying to take our money. But I mean, that's kind of why it's so interesting to me, and something that I've not gotten bored with yet is because you have to keep adapting to it and learning and growing in order to keep making money from it. Like I've gotten bored with most any other job that I've ever had within like a year or two, because I'm like, all right, I get it. I'm not going to be making any more money than this. What's next? So at least in the market for me, it's like there's no cap. Maybe our strategies adapt and change over time, but I really like that. And you know, we'll see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen next month or next year or 5 years from now. Yeah, my only plan is try to keep getting better over time, hopefully. We'll see what happens.
I heard Ross say one time that he wants to just teach people how to drive, like in the stock market. Like everyone that goes into the market, they all have like a permit, right? When you get your first account. And his goal is to teach people how to drive correctly. correctly. And I was like thinking, like, is that a good thing or is that a
Wow.
bad thing? Because if
That's-
everyone knows how to drive, then doesn't like no one technically know how to drive?
Well, like in the same idea, why don't shorts just let a stock run up and then short it? Like, why don't we just work together?
True. Yeah.
Because everyone would make a lot more money, but that's not how it works in reality
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Because they all disagree on how high it's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. True.
Shorts are like, this is the top.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Even this recession, I mean, this is the most widely predicted recession of all time. And that's a pretty good argument to say that if the market does capitulate at one point and all the sellers get flushed out and we do drop 20% in a certain amount of time, it is going to be genuinely the exact moment that nobody is going to expect it, because it cannot happen when everyone is shorting the market. Why would everyone get paid? You know, it's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, next stop is what? 420 SPY?
Seriously.
what's next up?
Or no, 320, right? No, 420. Yeah, 420.
Alex, you had mentioned earlier about going into the living room and your girlfriend just sees you like so frustrated. I was curious. I'm on my third relationship while being a day trader. This one is going great. I have a really, really great girlfriend who's very supportive and frequently kinder to me than I am to myself. Are you guys in relationships? What have your experience has been like in that?
Should I start? We could bring her in here and she could explain it.
Dude, it was funny. I came in here and we were talking about, she's like, who's Tom? And she was like, is that Triad Trading? And I was like, she like is in our Discord somehow. And Alex is like, yeah, he does like this scalping strategy where he'll like buy these dips and breakouts and all this terminology. And she's like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, she knows how to trade, I guess.
It's like that one
Yeah.
podcast clip where we had was like, you were like, my girlfriend knows more about my trading rules than I do.
Yeah. She could tell me, like, my girlfriend could give me like a within $20 like approximation of how green or red I am on the day. She doesn't know just by my mood. She doesn't know immediately.
My girlfriend knows if I'm trading after 11, it usually means I'm either very green on the day or very red.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. She was like, should you be still trading? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what we would do without them.
Yeah, my
Uh-huh.
girlfriend's very supportive. So I mean, I've been trading since I met her, so she's
Yeah.
known me as a trader, so she supports me. She wouldn't be dating me otherwise.
Same here.
So
I'm
Frenzy
very lucky that both of us don't really have like a very conventional life in mind. Like neither of us really want, like I obviously really don't want a 9-to-5 job and just like stability, which sounds funny, but
Mhm.
and we actually met at the gym and then she became a personal trainer there, and she does some stuff online too, and both of us are just kind of interested in ways to not really be just like ingrained in the system and stuck and just like completely stable at this level over time. So that's pretty nice to have.
Yeah.
I think that's really big, like where you date somebody that's kind of doing something similar, like doctors date doctors, or I have a friend who works in the government, he's dating someone that works in the government. Otherwise, like you don't, like you have such different views of the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, my girlfriend, she's also a freelancer / trying to start her own company. And
Cool.
yeah, I just asked her, she doesn't want to come on, but she said, why doesn't he stick to his rules? I think we all
It's
have
not that easy. You don't understand.
Yeah, they're not. They're like rules are like a framework, you know. They're
Yeah. Sometimes you can break them.
sometimes you almost have to break them. You know, nothing works today. Okay, well, screw it. I'm going to trade the range, and that's what works. You know.
I'm in.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. So tough. In relationships, but I think your partner definitely has to be your psychologist, psychiatrist to some extent. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Definitely
not gonna
has
work
to
out.
be on board and supportive, even when you're not. And like, even if you're having a red streak, they're like, you're going to be fine. Because like the alternative isn't helpful.
No. You have to be supportive because it's so easy to probably talk a trader out of it. You know, like, why don't you just do something X, Y, Z? So if you want us to be committed, I think you're gonna have to have a pretty supportive partner for sure. Or you don't have a partner, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a little bit of a risky bet on their end as well. Trying to date a trader, you never know when they're just going to blow up and then they're going to have no money, not be able to pay rent and whatever.
They're looking for some excitement.
Dude, I have nightmares where I'm like already rich and I blow up like my whole account.
Oh God.
Like millions or something.
I've seen a few tweets that are along those lines where it's like, I gave back, 200,000 or something like that. I gave back my whole account. So it seems like what you have to do at one point is like start stripping your accounts. Like always keep that at 100K or something.
Yeah.
At least you're day trading one,
Most of the guys who I'm friends with in the group who they like, I think like all of them have their $1 million verified profitability badge and more than that. They very frequently will size down their account because if they have a certain amount of buying power in their account, they will use it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 or 300,000, they'll use it.
Yeah.
So they have to be more careful with what is actually in their account, depending on like the state of the market. So they'll take out of their account.
That's what scares me about the whole exponential bet sizing, that we talked about before. It's like, what happens when you do exponential bet sizing and you're 100% sure this trade's going to work and you lose on it,
Then you just take the loss and you try again tomorrow.
Rule number 1, never bet more than you're willing to lose. That rule applies. It doesn't matter if you're successful. Right? That rule should always apply.
Yeah, there's definitely some rules you should never break. Like something along those lines, never bet more.
That's the hard part that I have about the exponential sizing. Like, I can do 2 times, I can do 4 times, sort of, but 8 times, like, I'm not really willing to take a loss on that. So that's still something that I'm working on.
It screws the stats up way too much in that regard. Like, recovering from an 8x loss, I mean, that could be insane.
It just has to be your best setup. Like, it has to be something that you're 100% confident in.
And probably coming off a nice hot streak of like 4x, 5x green days in a row.
You need some cushion, or else mentally you're going to be destroyed. You definitely don't want to do it in a downtrend. It's tough because sometimes you don't know if it's an A+ setup till like halfway through, and you're like,
Yeah. You're like, that was a good setup. I wish I was in this.
Now I'm chasing it.
Let me buy it now after the 20% pop.
That is something that I've gotten a lot better at lately, is just not chasing those and not having FOMO on them. Because we had SFWL earlier today. It went from it halted up originally at like 550, opened at 680, hit a high of 1245. And someone in the chat was like, what's your play on this? I'm like, I missed it. There is no play.
That's a great answer. I missed it. There is no play.
Yeah. I mean, it took a long time to get to that point, to just be like, I missed it, sucks. But luckily I was making money on TCRX while that was happening. So I felt a little better about it. But just like taking losses, chasing those things enough times, like it was PHUN, I think sometime last year, it had done that. It halted up and up and up from like 5 to 25 or something like that. It finally halted down once or twice. I took 100 shares at like 19 or something like that, and it went into a halt down. It opened at like 9. I lost $1,100 on 1,000 shares.
Wow.
Or on 100 shares. And you only need that a couple times before you're like, this isn't worth it.
Yeah.
That was back when DWAC.
Yeah, it was DWAC and Fun. Fun is a terrible stock, terrible company. I don't hold a grudge or anything, obviously.
We need to get David
Danny,
on
do you have a
this
direct
phone.
access when you're using your DOS platform?
No, so the funny thing is it's literally called direct access software, but through TD, it's still through TD, so it's not actually direct access to the market. But
in TD Ameritrade, you can change your account to have direct access.
you can. You can tell them where you want your order to be sent, but it still goes to TD first. It doesn't just
Okay.
bypass TD. So yeah, I've tried that. As far as I know, I've tried everything. It's not a direct access broker.
Yeah, I looked into it as well. There's no, I think I even had a long phone call with multiple people.
Yeah.
There's no way to rig it up.
The cool thing though is it's free. So
I mean, it's huge when some key traders, like including Ross, talk about their trading fees. I'm like, whew, or
Yeah.
like if they have a 3K red day, it's really like a 5K red day sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat earlier was like, I'm up 400 something, but probably flat on the day after fees. I was like, how can you, I mean, for me, that's just not acceptable. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've tried Lightspeed twice and came back to TD twice.
Yeah.
I just can't stomach that at all.
No, it really feels almost insulting. I guess it really depends on your strategy. Like I know Ross is quite aggressive. You are pretty aggressive. Tommy's pretty aggressive as well. Like with your quick trading, I'm not usually that quick as a trader, so I don't know if light speed would make a difference for me because I'm more of like a limit order and hold for at least a bit. So I definitely could not justify those fees. I think.
I trade quickly like Ross. Like there have been at least 2 or 3 times in the past week or 2 weeks that both of us caught the exact same trade. And the only difference is I trade a lot more than Ross through the day because he'll just stop. So I was talking with him the other day and he was like, I looked at your April results that you posted, and I had posted like a $26,000 month, and he did the calculations with the shares that I traded. I would have been like flat on the month practically, like 26,000 straight to the broker. That's insane to me.
Wow.
I don't know if it was 26,000 in fees and commissions, but like it was most of it.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, my trading style also, I don't like it would be eaten alive. I remember I traded a bit when I was in college for like a year and a half. And sometimes I would have like $400 or $500 in fees. That's when TD Ameritrade was $5 per trade, basically. Yeah, that just eats you alive. And then I traded crypto for like 2 years. That's when I was basically trading like Ethereum or Litecoin every day, kind of like we were trading Nvidia, but I was just trading that. And those fees ate me up alive too because they were percent based. And yeah, I mean sometimes a big trade is kind of cost you $40 to enter it. So it's so that's why I switched back to trading stocks with the zero commission.
With futures, I pay $1.30 every trade, no matter what. And that's with the smallest possible size you can use.
But that's round trip.
Yeah.
That's like per contract per future.
Yeah, so I'm doing the math right now. I would have had like $9,000 in fees on my 26,000 profit.
Yeah.
And that was the best month I've had in 2 years. So like imagine a normal month.
Yeah. Imagine a red month.
Dude,
Or like a break even month. You're up 500, but you're really down. Yeah.
Like $5,000.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh. No. I don't know. You'd have to really justify it somehow. I guess Ross justifies it because he's quite aggressive as a trader, but I don't know.
He's quite aggressive, and specifically his strategy, he keeps buying as it's going higher. So when it finds resistance or the spot to sell, he needs to be able to sell instantly.
Yeah.
And he needs to be able to buy quickly too, but I think being able to get out of the trade is more important.
Yeah.
But also he just doesn't trade nearly as much or as many trades as like I'm taking. So
yeah, he has less scratch trades. It feels like it's much cleaner the way he trades for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just what's going to happen to all of us through time. You just trade less and less, and
For sure. I think that's
I'm
just-
trying to.
It's like if you ever go like, let's say do a sport with somebody, you know, like for me, if I surf with somebody that's not good at surfing, you know, I'll paddle past the break and I'm super relaxed and they're exhausted, right? You just become efficient over time. When I mountain bike with my dad, he's like 10 times better than me. I'm exhausted and he's like, you know, hopping around and like, no problem. It's just, so the better you get, the more efficient. You just, all those little mistakes, you just don't do as much anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it translates to trading. Also, one thing I just had in my mind as well is if you realize that other traders don't trade certain styles, do certain things because of fees, sometimes it's important to keep that in mind. Like sometimes when I look at sub dollars, I'm like, do I want to trade that? Because I know a lot of traders aren't trading that because of they pay per share. So sometimes I avoid sub dollars just because of that alone. And that's what creates a big price action nasty drops because there's maybe no buyers, you know, waiting around.
I think that's definitely important to pay attention to, especially people who like, you know, they're good at trading or make a lot of money, is what are they trading and what are they not and why specifically.
Yeah.
Like Manoli, I've talked about him before. He just absolutely kills it on penny stocks, like 20, 30, 40, 50 cents. It doesn't matter because he's looking at the range. If it can go from 20 cents to 25 cents, that's a 25% move in that stock. And if he's loaded up on it, like a couple 100,000 shares, that could be a $10,000 or $20,000 winner for him. But that's how he's trading them. And it took a long time for me to figure out like what other profitable traders are doing and what I should be doing. Like, should I be doing that or should I not? That definitely is part of becoming a more advanced trader, I think, is figuring out like what noise should I be paying attention to and what should I be tuning out? Like what's actually helpful for me to listen to and what is not. And then like also going back to, you tried this strategy, it didn't work, so you move on. I think it's fine to try a strategy and figure out if it works or not, and that's how you kind of figure out your own style, is what's important for you to pay attention to and what's important to ignore.
That's a great point. Do you trade sub dollars? Because like now you see Manoli, like it's working for him.
I do. Yeah, I do now. They're not my best plays usually, but I do. There's little that I won't trade if it's looking right and good.
Yeah, I like that attitude. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like just because it's 50 cents or $20 or $100, if it's doing the right things, it's just a matter of share size.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday all our the best two tickers were sub dollars pre-market.
Yeah.
TRBN and the other one I forgot.
What is really annoying though, and something to pay attention to, is the stocks that were under $1 or under a certain price point the day before. If they open up over the next day, their halt bands are going to be really, really narrow. So they're going to be just halting up and down all day, and that can make them really hard to trade.
Oh, actually, I didn't know that, but I always was wondering why some tickers are getting halted like crazy
Yeah.
for no reason. It feels like, while some have like a huge.
Like they have a 10 or a 15 cent halt band.
Yeah, okay, so
why
that's
usually.
I'll have to pay attention to that. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
You said if it gaps overnight from a penny stock to $1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something like that. You can probably look it up. But that's what it is. Yeah. All of the NASDAQ and NYSE halt rules are listed online. They're a little bit hard to follow. There's a lot of rules and like time of day and that kind of stuff, but that's generally what it is. Yeah.
I think that's why I like pre-market trading so much, because there's no halts.
Yeah.
I feel like the price action is so much cleaner. And the market open happens and it's all chaotic. But everyone's different, right? Some people thrive off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
ERBN was halting all over the place yesterday.
Yeah,
I
I know.
had done really well on it until I didn't.
It was hard for me to get in because I knew the halt level down was so close.
Mm-hmm. a good setup, for me for penny stock is if it doesn't have potential to reach $1 a share, I usually don't trade it. Because that's
Mhm.
usually the kind of the marker that I'm looking for is for that cross into $1, because then it starts to skip pennies versus
Yeah.
micro pennies.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, and then sometimes they'll switch from the micro pennies to back to like the normal decimal places. That's usually gives me a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. I hate it when it's to like 4 decimal points because it makes the level 2 and stuff really hard to read.
Yeah, you have to zoom out on it, but even then, it'll still constantly auto correct into like the wrong.
Yeah, I don't even
decimal.
bother with the ladder at that point. Then I'm just using the DOS level 2.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense for you. Yeah, always zoom out, but that's pretty much my only option.
Yeah.
Guys, anything you want to add as a large cap trader? What's gonna happen tomorrow?
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Predict something.
Should we
Well,
all short?
CPI has been it's been weakening as a catalyst a lot recently. Like last year,
Yeah.
CPI comes out, 20 points in the SPY, like in a second,
Yeah.
20 points. And that's, it was literally like 2.5% moves just in a literal instant second, and then would flip the other direction. Crazy. But now this year, CPI matters a lot less because the fear of inflation is a lot dampened because, it's been coming down for like, I don't know, a long time, like 9 months straight. It's been coming down every single month.
Yeah.
And the biggest fear right now is just banking regional banks. All the money is getting taken out of regional banks and getting put into these, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Chase, all those companies, because why would you put your money in a regional bank if they're going to do all this sketchy shit with it? So,
Yeah.
and then you could see it in the price action too, like PACW and WAL. I mean, they had 200% moves off their lows from 2 days ago only.
Yeah.
So they were halting down. WAL was halting down, I think it was 2 days ago, and they were saying that they were going to sell their bank to like JP Morgan or something, and then they came out right at the bottom. At the bottom was like $11, and they came out with an article that said that's not true, it's false. Okay, well, how the fuck did that even happen? Okay, how is there an article coming out saying they're going to sell their company? Everyone listens to it.
Yeah.
And it drops literally it was like 60% from, it went from like 30 to 11.
It went to 11, halted down, opened at 18.
Yeah. Jack Kellogg bought that right at the bottom. He bought it at 11. It's funny.
Jack Kellogg did.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure it was probably small size, but it was
I
funny.
hope that helps with his $300,000 loss that he took shorting.
Top.
What was it?
top.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Top,
that was Alex Tem. You know who Alex Tem is?
No,
Jack Kellogg did, I guess. I didn't know Jack Kellogg shorted top, but
I think
this
he
one guy,
posted like a
Alex.
$330,000 loss on it.
Oh my God, top.
Alex Temes, he does the MIC. It's like my investing club they're like pretty active on Twitter and everything. But he
Okay.
lost, I think, 400
Yeah,
thousand. Yeah.
I saw
He
some
made
of that.
He made 125K back though in the next like 4 days. So I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, you make a lot, you lose a lot, right? That's kind of how it goes.
yeah,
Once you increase your bet size.
yeah. You gotta train your mind to be able to handle that.
I guess that's what we're all going to work on this week. Train your mind to handle bigger size.
Yeah.
Ready to
I'm
size up
always
again?
working on My biggest thing that I need to do is like, I guess just do a little bit better with figuring out before it happens if I'm going to lose profit or not. Like last week before my red day on Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I gave back like $6,000 in profits, even ending those days green. And then yesterday I gave back 2,500. Today I'm on a really solid day and I'm not going to trade at all anymore today because like there's two things that can happen. I can make a little more money or I can give back a lot of money, probably.
Yeah.
That's what the market has been telling me lately. So I can guarantee that I'm going to have every penny of what I've made so far if I stop today.
I think that's the right idea. Unless like there's a really hot front side, and it just keeps going. Maybe towards
Unless.
yeah, but no, I agree.
You're
Like
sitting there till 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
it's just like on a day like today where all the top gappers are like consolidating or flushing or selling off. Like it's probably not worth sticking around. But like if it's one of those days where it's like clearly really good and maybe just needs like an hour pause because you feel like there's some consolidation that needs to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Sure, stick around, but today's not the day for that.
Yeah, that like internal expected value clock in our head, like I think that's where like Ross is like way better. Like you can see it when you trade. You're like, wow, that's what experience is in the market when you're doing this for 20 years. Like you just know immediately, oh, that's it. Like my expected value is negative right now for sure.
Yeah.
And they're done.
That's how he can turn it on and he can have a 20K green day.
Yep.
Just like randomly because he just can feel the momentum.
Yeah, for me, sometimes I need like a week of momentum to be like, okay, it's heating up again.
Yeah.
Let me size up. And he's like, first day, boom.
And by the time we size up, the leading gapper is already fading, and then we catch the tail end of the momentum.
And it's not just Ross too. It's really cool and interesting to see some of the guys in the group. They're just like their default is aggressive and they have to pull it back. And like they'll be up 10, 20, 30,000 in an instant. It's really interesting to see it.
Yeah, that's nice. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's also not me.
Like
that's how I start.
I couldn't handle that mentally. I just can't.
Their default is like, this is going to the moon, I'm in. And they have to pull it back. Like, that's what I'm saying. They have to cut their account into like a quarter of the size that it was at, or they just have to stop trading. Like Jess is one of the mentors, and he keeps his account really small because he trades with CMEG. So he has 6 times leverage and he uses it. But the best thing for him to do is just not trade. If something isn't going straight up, he's not trading. The other guys, they'll size down their accounts. But like these guys who I trade with who make a lot of money, their default is aggressive. It's really interesting.
That makes sense. Even Ross was saying, you as a momentum like gapper trader, you have to be like blindly optimistic. I think I mentioned
kind of, yeah.
And it makes sense. Like you have to expect that the breakout's going to happen, or else why are you holding that anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was my issue today. I was just like, I got too nervous and I closed it and it broke out. But if I was blindly optimistic, I would have made another $300-400.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be kind of like blindly optimistic, but also totally objective on what is the information that's being presented to you currently by like level 2 time in sales.
If it's not working out, you get out. You can't just be like, oh, it's going to reverse. But it's more like,
which is why it's hard to have to do both at the same time.
It's true.
It's why it's not totally natural for beginners.
You have to be really quick to cut it and quit it, but you have to be very optimistic it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It also helps that you can't really on ThinkorSwim, you can't short them, so it kind of takes that out of the equation, which is helpful for me because I'm someone who would short at easy to borrow, and then it just keeps going higher and higher and higher. I need to be like restricted to just going along because then I don't think I could ever just flip back and forth. I don't think I could. So
here's the thing: the reason I took such a big loss yesterday, I'm in TD's hard to borrow program. Anyone can just email them. I think anyone. I don't know if you have to have like history of success or anything, but you can email them and be like, can you enroll me in your hard to borrow program? And if a stock says hard to borrow, you can test it and it'll either let you short it or it'll say this security is not available to short. So some of the hard to borrow stocks, you can actually short them, and TRVN was hard to borrow yesterday, but I was shorting it and I was up 1,600 on it or something, and it was like 700 long, like 900 short, something like that. And then the last trade of the day that I took was 27. It was 3,000 shares short at 274 as it was curling into the halt at the end of the day. I got 300 of them out for profit before it squeezed, and then it shot up $1 in the aftermarket right there. On my 2,700 shares short. That's how I had that loss.
Wait, after Mark, are you here?
Yep.
Oh my
You
lord.
see that
that's
halt?
painful. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
man,
it
just
came
comes right back
all
down.
the way
too.
back down. I was so frustrated.
That
Well,
is
you know,
that is
that
literally
could-
the last trade of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you held that, that could have been the next top that went to
Well,
20,
right, exactly.
opened up at 20, and the next
Yeah.
day and then rips to 50.
Yeah, like you have to get out.
Yep.
You can't
Yeah, you
just
have
keep
to.
holding it.
Yeah,
Shorting sucks.
that's stressful.
I short when I see something that's worth shorting now. But it definitely is hard to see both sides, and especially to execute on both sides. Like whenever I see something that I think is going to false breakout, but I think it's going to break out first, I'm always thinking about the breakout and then shorting it. And it's hard to actually execute on like the hotkeys, and flipping the shares from long to short can sometimes have some like hangups in the system.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do mentally, but it's also hard to do just like execution wise.
Yeah, we were talking about that even last pod, like the fat finger hotkeys, you know. And
Yeah.
that's, all right, Tom. So hard to borrow. There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from that.
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
I'm green right now, so I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing and just keep sizing up. So
Perfect.
Makes sense.
I've
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
been in
smart.
some situations where you try to exit a trade and then you're all of a sudden negative or
Yeah.
shorting a trade.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah. Danny, do you have to pay borrow fees on those?
You do actually, but it's like
It's cheap.
completely negligible.
It's not
Like,
reserving the shares.
no, yeah, you don't have to locate fees. Either it's shortable or it's not. And then they send you a report at the end of the day on what it cost. And like for thousands and thousands of shares, I think it's only ever been like a few dollars a day.
Okay, yeah, that's
So-
not bad at all.
I don't even consider it,
Yeah.
which is really awesome.
Yeah,
No, it's
it's
good.
easy to
Thanks
do.
for
You
sharing
just
that.
you just message or you just go online and message them and they'll flip you over.
Yeah,
Might be worth to do. I mean, it's nice to have and not need,
right.
as opposed to need and not have. But
It's definitely been helpful for me.
Why not?
Like if nothing is moving up one day and some stuff has momentum to the downside, I can see if I can short it. Like Bed Bath and Beyond the other week, I was taking like 30,000 shares short on it and doing pretty well on it.
yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. Seems
Yeah.
worth it. Nice. Anyone want anything else to share before we wrap up? Plans going forward? I guess we did talk about plans going forward. So,
how long are you
Yes.
staying in New York?
So Thursday.
And how about Alex? Are you staying in the States now?
No, this is just a quick trip. We were looking at some real estate. I was upstate New York over the weekend, just checking out some houses in some towns, like around Tarrytown, like south of
Nice.
Pleasanton. We didn't find anything we like yet, but we do like certain areas along the Hudson. But I don't know. It's so hard to say. We're also looking all over the world. So like from Portugal to Berlin to, so I have no idea what's gonna happen. But I will be here till Tuesday. My brother actually gets here on Friday, unless some of you guys know him. And then we're gonna go to Connecticut for Mother's Day with my
Nice.
mom. And so yeah, just kind of hanging out here a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
I guess tomorrow we'll probably trade together, something like that.
we'll have to all plan like something this year, maybe like a weekend meetup or something for all of us.
Yeah, I'm super down for that. We'll have to find a really good spot, maybe even like the Outer Banks, rent a house or something.
Yeah.
I
With
love-
or
I was gonna
without
say, how's
girlfriends.
California sound?
we could do California. We'll all be like crack babies waking up at like 4, scratching
Yeah,
their neck.
seriously.
Oh, I'm not waking up at 4. I wake up at 6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll probably trade later as well then. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah,
East Coast
let's
hours are nice.
open discussion. I mean, we have our section in the Discord where we do always exercise some of these ideas or throw ideas around. We haven't actually executed on them yet, but that's the next step. Super down for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
All right, guys. Toby,
Sounds
that's time
good.
for you.
Toby's a zombie,
Honestly.
bro. I don't know how he's just like.
Oh, that would be dead. That would be dead. All right, guys. Danny,
All right.
your full day.
All right. Good
All
chat.
right. Good chat.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
See ya.
Guys later.